In today's video you will learn how to do a kick for the no fins disciplines such as a dynamic no fins or constant no fins. For those of you who already have some experience in such disciplines, you're still probably gonna find some useful exercise which can even further improve your technique. But first of all, a disclaimer. There is no doubt that the best way to learn any freediving technique, and especially the no fins technique, is not through the YouTube videos, but with an actual freediving instructor or coach by your side. But unfortunately, this is not possible for all freedivers around the world. Some freedivers just don't have regular access to the freediving instructor, and for those people I'm making this video. Recently I made a video about the arm stroke for the no fins discipline. The link in the description below if you haven't seen it. You can consider this video as a follow-up video, as a second part of the no fins disciplines. This part is more technically difficult, so give yourself enough time to learn this technique before you're trying to attempt any serious distance or depths. The video are gonna have three parts. Number one is a dry practice, number two is a swimming on the surface, and number three is a underwater swimming. The best part of dry training is that it can be done anywhere. No safety partner or special equipment is required. Some equipment which we can discuss later is helpful, but it is optional to have it. As I said, the second part involves swimming on the surface. You need access to the water and equipment such as a mask and a snorkel. A kickboard and a pool buoy also helpful. A training partner is recommended but not required, since there would be no breath hold training. And the third part is a swimming underwater. You can still use your mask, but it is a bit better to use a swimming goggles and a nose clip. Also, a weight system is needed, especially if you use a wetsuit. I prefer the neck weight from the Lobster company, since it helps you to get a streamline position a little bit easier. The link to my review of this neck weight is going to be in the description below, as well as a promo code which can give you 10% discount if you're going to buy this neck weight. The training partner is absolutely necessary for this part because it's going to involve underwater swimming, which means breath holding. And remember, the main rule in freediving is never freedive alone. Never train breath holding on your own. Even if you're going to do easy distance, it's still highly recommended to have a safety partner. Kicking for no fins discipline requires a certain level of mobility in your ankles, knees and hips. So I recommend investing enough time in developing it. The best way is a dry practice. Please don't rush yourself with this process, especially if you're adult, if you're not super young. It's actually possible to have some injury if you do some of the exercise with too much force. Especially there are some exercise which children use when they're learning breaststroke kicking, and if the adult without proper preparation gonna try this exercise, it's absolutely possible to have certain injuries. We're gonna start with the exercise for the ankles. We're pushing both feet down, then pulling both feet up, down and up. So now we can alternate, one pushing, one pulling. So one pushing down, one pulling towards the shin. One pushing, one pulling. Really great exercise for coordination as well. So the next one is a rotation. We can rotate for a few times one direction, and then we can rotate for another direction. So this exercise is great for mobility and for warm-up. So now exercise for the hips and knee. The first version is a little bit simpler. We're moving both feet both way to the ground, right? So first right side, left side, both knee right side, both knee left side. Okay, so this is a slightly easier option. The next one slightly harder. Now only one knee going inside all the way to the floor, or as far as your mobility allows you, and another knee still looking up. One knee down, one knee up. This is a little bit more intense. So the next exercise is a good warm-up for the lower back. So both knee going one direction. So this one is also for the lower back, and again for the hips and knee. So one knee going down, another knee still looking up. So the next is a stretching exercise, a really basic one. This is good for stretching your glutes as well as your lower back. So you can stretch for one direction, maybe 30 seconds, and then you can stretch in other direction for about 30 seconds as well. And the next exercise, I really like it. This is a good exercise for stretching the glutes. So you just grab one of your knee, and then you pulling your knee towards your chest. Be careful with this exercise, potentially it can be a little bit dangerous. After you finish with the warm-up, now it's time to practice actual no fins kicking technique. And this is going to be first for the 4 steps. We're going to do step 1, then we're going to do step 2, step 3 and step 4. When we're going to do step 2 and 3, our toes we're pulling towards our shin. Okay, so this is 1, 2, we're pulling our toes towards the shin, 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. So this is a 3 exercise. 1, 2, and then 3, kind of circle inside. 1, 2, and then circle inside. One more time. 1, 2, and then a circle inside. Really good exercise. There is also one more really useful stretching exercise, which we can still do dry. The next one is a stretching. So you grabbing your feet from the above and then gently pulling. Be careful with the exercise. Just gentle pull. And now when you already practice no fins kicking technique, you can move, if you have, to the fitness ball, because this is going to be a little bit closer to what your technique is going to look like in the water, because your knee have a freedom to move a little bit forward. And now the same exercise on 4 steps, but lying on a fitness ball. So step 1, step 2, step 3 and step 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Same, step 2 and 3, you're pulling your feet, your toes towards your shin. 1, 2, 3. So now we're going to do it on 3 steps. 1, 2, circle movement inside. 1, 2, circle movement inside. Make sure you're kicking symmetrical. Make sure your left and right legs moving in the same timing. So symmetry is really crucial. So focus on that. Any fitness ball will work for this purpose, but I prefer, for both my personal practice and for our students, I prefer peanut shape fitness ball. So the second part, as I said, is going to be involves swimming on a surface with a mask and snorkel. So no breath holding at this moment yet. And now we're finally in the water. First we're going to refresh how to do it on 4 steps. So same as in a dry. Step 1. Double check, it should be like about double fist distance. Step 2, step 3 and step 4. Step 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now we're gonna do it on, by the way, don't forget, don't open your knee too wide. Your feet should be wider than your knee when you do a kick. So now we're gonna do on 3 steps. 1, 2 and 3, bring the water inside. So grab the water on the step 2 and bring it inside. And let's do it one more time. 1, 2 and bring the water inside. And last time, 1, 2, bring inside. Since this is not breath hold exercise, a training partner is not necessary, but we need a mask and a snorkel. And now let's move finally to the swimming itself. First, use the kicking board or keep your arms in a streamlined position. After each kick, do a little gliding. Avoid keeping your knee too wide. Keep your feet wider than your knees. Please don't bring your knees also too much forward, it will create a lot of drag. Don't kick with too much energy. Focus on the correct technique and the fluid movement. In a second position, you can keep your arms along the body and touch with your fingers your feet. And the last part of this video is kicking underwater. I strongly recommend moving to this part only after a few dry sessions and a few sessions when you practice no fins technique while swimming on the surface with a snorkel. You're not gonna help yourself if you're gonna move to these parts too soon, because if you have some mistakes in your technique and you're gonna repeat these mistakes over and over, you're gonna bring this wrong technique on your subconscious level. If this is your first underwater session without fins, check your buoyancy. Ideally, for dynamic no fins training, you would use a neck weight. Even better if it would be a neck weight from the Lobster company, because it will help you to have a better streamlining position. After the buoyancy is adjusted, start with the easy distances. Let's say 10-25 meters, depending on your level. You can count how many kicks you do per distance. Let's say you do a relaxation breathing, big breath in and push from the wall. After a little glide, do a couple of kicks and come up. The next time you can do 3-4 kicks. The goal is not to swim the longest distance possible. The goal is to have full control on how you move your legs. As for previous steps, when you work on the underwater kicking technique, using an underwater camera can be tremendously beneficial. You can use any camera, but I prefer the Osmo Action camera. I recently made a review why Osmo Action 4 is my favorite camera at this moment. If you haven't seen this video, check out here.